She back
It having reached the hour of 5:30, I am calling the May 2nd, 2023 Modesto City Council meeting to order and ask the city clerk to please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Ricky.
Present.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Present.
Councilmember Williams.
Present.
Councilmember Wright.
Here.
For the record, Councilmember Scutia Brayton is absent. Councilmember Alvarez.
Here.
And Mayor Wallen.
Here. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation from Bill Canoyer from Redeemer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome.
Let's pray. Our Father, we thank you for gathering tonight. We thank you, Father, for these servants of our city. God, would you give them wisdom? Would you help them to carry the decisions that they need to make to help citizens grow old and enjoy this city for long years to come? Pray for wisdom for them. Pray for your protection over their families and that you would strengthen their health. Pray in God's good name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Does the city clerk have any announcements?
Yes, Mayor, just a reminder, public comment is limited to 3 minutes, and there are blue speaker cards at the entrance of the chambers.
Thank you. Do any of the council members have any conflicts of interest? Thank you. Will the city attorney report out on closed session?
Yes, Mayor. The council met into closed session for a couple items today on existing litigation and labor negotiations. No reportable action was taken.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is acknowledgements and presentations. Item 1, proclamation declaring May 2023 as National Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. I will read the proclamation. Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month is observed annually in May to celebrate the contributions that generations of AAPIs have made to American history, society, and culture. And Asian American and Pacific Islanders make our nation more vibrant through diversity of cultures, languages, and religions. There is no single story of the AAPI experience, but rather a diversity of contributions that enrich America's culture and society and strengthen the United States' role as a global leader. And the American story as we know it would be impossible without the strength, contributions, and legacies of AAPIs who have helped build and unite this country in each successive generation. And from laying railroad tracks, tilling fields, and starting businesses, to caring for our loved ones and honorably serving our nation in uniform, AAPI communities are deeply rooted in the history of the United States. And we also celebrate and honor the invaluable contributions the AAPI communities have made to our community's culture and the arts, law, science and technology, sports, and public service, including those who served on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic as healthcare providers, first responders, teachers, and other essential workers. And now, therefore, I, Suze Wallen, Mayor, do hereby proclaim May 2023 as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the City of Modesto, and encourage our residents to join in recognizing the many contributions made by and learn more about the history of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, and to observe this month with appropriate programs and activities. And accepting this proclamation is Wei Ying Li of the Stanislaus Chinese Association. Do you have some remarks this evening, Wei? Sure.
Thank you, Mayor Wallen and all the City Council members. My name is Hui Li. I'm the co-president of the Stanislaus Chinese Association. I would like to share a story with everyone. It's about the Modesto once had a thriving Chinatown. I don't know how many people have you heard this story. It's from Modesto B. Because last year I received an email from Mrs. Wolf. She's from Stanislaus Genealogical Society. She mentioned about, she said, some time ago, I had no idea why we had such a thriving community of Chinese in Modesto. So she asked, can you guys come to do the presentation at our monthly meeting? So I did some research. So the story is from the Ancestry ad. It's they interview former San Francisco supervisor Eric Moore, and the story is about his father and his grandfather. So the story went back to 1940. So Chinese was 1840. I'm sorry. Chinese were starting to immigrate to Modesto at that time, and then 1860 when the Western region built the Transcontinental Railroad. So at that time, the Chinese population about 1,000. So the Eric's grandfather, so his name is Louis Moore. So they call him Mayor of Chinatown, or the King of Chinatown at that time. So the location at that Chinatown was located. The location was the Southwest Railroad track on 8th Street and between F and G, and it's expanded to 7th Street and between F and H. So so it was like a pretty stunning this record to me, because I didn't know we have Chinatown in Modesto such 200 some years ago. So later, I think because later the Central Valley Chinese immigrants faced harassment and then violence, so that's why the population down from 1,000 to about 100. And then 1879, it was the whole Chinatown was burned, so it's a disappear. And then City of the Modesto was founded in 1870. So the past 30 years of this Chinatown history is never recorded on our Modesto history record. So that's something I learned, and I'm so happy to know that kind of history. So then talking about the Stanislaus Chinese Association in 1972, a group of graduate students from Hong Kong and Taiwan, they came to Modesto. So they established the Stanislaus Chinese Association. So this year is our 51st anniversary. And our board member consists not only Taiwanese, Chinese, we have Vietnamese, we have Filipino, we have American, or our board members. So we aim to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for being here this evening, and I'll bring the proclamation down and present it.
Okay, thank you. You did?
My grandparents used to do it. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
I was aware.
Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
One, two, three. One, two, three. One, two, and three. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne, for being here this evening.
Thank you.
All right. Next, item 2 is a proclamation declaring May 2023 as National Mental Health Awareness Month. I will read the proclamation. Mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, and mental illnesses are real and prevalent in our nation. And half of us will have a mental health diagnosis at some point in our lives. And all Americans experience times of difficulty and stress in their lives and should feel comfortable in seeking help and support to manage these times. And engaging in prevention, early identification, and early intervention are as effective in reducing the burden of mental illnesses as they are in reducing the burden of other chronic conditions. And there is a strong body of research that identifies behavioral health risks and supports specific tools that all Americans can use to protect their health and well-being. And with effective treatment, individuals with mental illnesses, even serious mental illnesses, can make progress towards recovery and lead full, productive lives. And jails and prisons have often become the default places of custodial care for even nonviolent people with serious mental illnesses. And each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization, and resident has a responsibility to promote mental health and well-being for all. And now, therefore, I, Suze Wallen, Mayor, do hereby proclaim May 2023 as National Mental Health Awareness Month in the City of Modesto, and call upon the citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools to recommit our community to increasing awareness and understanding of mental health, the steps our residents can take to protect their mental health, and the need for appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental illness. And this evening, we have Steve Collins, who is the Director of Behavioral Health at Center for Human Services, that would like to make a few remarks. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. So my name is Steve Collins, and I am privileged to be the Behavioral Health Director at the Center for Human Services. It is wonderful to live in a community that values mental health. Just like we all have physical health challenges from time to time, each of us also have mental health challenges from time to time. And it's wonderful to live in a place that is determined to wipe out the stigma and to normalize that everybody can benefit from time to time of talking to someone and getting the help they need. So as part of just one part of the big mental health community within the City of Modesto and Stanislaus County, just thank you so much for the time and attention to mental health in our area. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I will now join you. Thank you for being here this evening, and I will present the proclamation. All right, item 3, a proclamation declaring May 2023 as National Older Americans Month. I will read the proclamation. The City of Modesto includes a growing number of older Americans who contribute their time, wisdom, and experiences to our community. And the City of Modesto has long been concerned for the well-being and economic security of its senior citizens. And communities benefit when people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds have the opportunity to participate and live independently. And the 2023 theme for National Older Americans Month is Aging Unbound. This theme acts as a reminder to explore diverse aging experiences and continue to combat stereotypes. And together, we can work to build an even better community for our older residents by not limiting our thinking about aging, emphasizing the many positive aspects of aging, inspiring older adults to push past traditional boundaries, and embracing our community's diversity. And now, therefore, I, Suze Wallen, Mayor of the City of Modesto, do hereby proclaim May 2023 as National Older Americans Month and encourage our citizens to join in promoting and supporting the public, nonprofits, and faith-based agencies who serve the older citizens in our community. Martha Martin is the president of the Commission on Aging and will be accepting this proclamation. Welcome, Martha.
Thank you. On behalf of the Stanislaus County Commission on Aging, it is my privilege to accept the Council's proclamation highlighting the efforts of young Americans, 60 and older, who serve their communities in many, many different ways. Throughout the county, we've had applications come in from individuals who feel that they know a person who is 60 and older who has really, really taken a lot of time and effort to benefit their community. And so there have been 5 chosen from each of the supervisory districts that will be honored at the county supervisors meeting on May 16th. It is with great privilege and honor to know that we are wizened individuals. It's not a stigma to be older. In fact, it's a rite of passage. And each of you will also be part of that rite of passage at some time. So for the greatest generation and its successors, thank you on behalf of all of us 60 and older.
All right, thank you for being here this evening. In addition to the proclamation, I want to acknowledge Modesto residents Sebastian Jones, Christy Walker, and Helen Flores, recipients of the Stanislaus County Outstanding Senior Citizens Award for their volunteer work in the areas of community service, humanitarianism, leadership, or good neighborliness. The award recipients will be recognized by the Stanislaus County Board of Supervisors at their May 16th, 2023 meeting. I will bring the proclamation down and present it and bring the other 3 as well.
Congratulations. Great speech. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3.
Right, next on the agenda is item 4. Consider accepting the resignation of Gabriela Fierro from the City of Modesto's Equity Commission. Does council have any questions of staff? Seeing none, I'll open to the public. Are there any members of the public that would like to come forward regarding this item, item 4? I do not see anyone in person and do not see anyone online. I will close public comments. Any council comments? All right, I have a resolution accepting the resignation of Gabriela Fierro from the City of Modesto's Equity Commission. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Motion by Councilmember Wright.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Alvarez. Will the clerk please call the roll for this item?
Vice Mayor Ricky,
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro,
Aye.
Councilmember Williams,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez,
Aye.
and Mayor Wallen.
Aye, so it carries 6-0 with Councilmember Scudia Brayton absent. Next is public comment period. Does anyone wish to speak on any item under public comment? And this is for items not on the council agenda. And each person has 3 minutes to speak. I have several blue cards here, so I will start with Louisa Bryant.
Good evening, members, mayor, members of the council. I'm just reading. This will be my 8th appearance before this council in the past 14 months, but I fear it will not be my last, as I cannot possibly cover what I believe is the incompetent, dishonest, and illegal conduct perpetrated by a specific city employee. Tonight, I have provided members of the council a binder that contains, among other documents, all 49 pages of 4 different copies of the altered and falsified contents in the City of Modesto case number COD 2022-000345. This is only for the members to scan for confirmation. This binder also contains documents pertaining to the matters I will discuss tonight. I've also provided each member with copies of these documents, hopefully to make it easier to follow as I present several of my allegations tonight. Exhibit A shows a copy of, and I quote, notice of violation signed and sent by an official employed by the City of Modesto on March 7, 2022, to the owners of the property where I reside. If you look at the back side of the notice, you will see that the official also sent the carbon copies to the owners, no others. Doesn't make any sense. Continuing down, you will see highlighted portions, and I want to quote on one. On February 15, 2022, I made an on-site inspection and verified the validity of the complaint. End of quote. This is a lie. If you look at the back side of this notice, you will see that the original copy, that would be number 1 of the City of Modesto case number 2, well, above-mentioned case, shows that my patio ceiling was inspected by Inspector MSO on February 15, 2022. The above-mentioned official never entered my apartment or patio until April 21st, 2022. Continuing down further, you will see highlighted portions that read, and I quote, violations must be corrected within 10 calendar days of the date of this notice of violation. To this date, there has been no attempt to comply with this order to remove all mold and wood rot under the panel of the patio ceiling, and no permit from the city for the completion of the above repairs has been submitted or received. Exhibit B is a 24-hour notice to enter dwelling within the premises. The reason for this notice was, and I quote, to inspect balconies, decks, and other exterior elevated elements to comply with Health and Safety Code Section 17973. If you turn the page, you will find a 3-page copy of the California Legislative Information on Health and Safety Code Section 17973. Reading the underlined portions describing balconies, decks, etc., you will find that my patio ceiling bears no resemblance to the detailed accounts of the requirements describing balconies, decks, etc. in this code. In fact, my patio ceiling is separated from the balcony above, belonging to my neighbor, by a cement slab. It is impossible to see or touch the base of the balcony above from my patio. On the next page, you can read.
Louisa, you've exceeded your time.
I thought I was reading pretty quickly.
You were, but it's been 3 minutes and it's over your time. So we have the materials. We will certainly keep them and share them with staff. And I would encourage you to contact us further. And maybe Allison, if you can give a contact number, you probably have that, but if we can continue in that way.
Okay, you know, I've been here before, I am disabled, you know my age. I just wish the council to bring a speedy end. Yeah, this unending and unwarranted harassment, and it's unjustified.
Okay.
I mean,
all right. Thank you for your
there are
comments,
more.
and we do have the materials.
Okay, I
Thank
don't know
you.
if you can follow it, but I did highlight them.
Okay, thank
There's
you,
more.
appreciate that.
Thank you for your time, and I'm sorry, I thought
Okay.
I got
You're
away with
welcome.
it. Try to speak a little fast.
Thank you. Next online, we have Jenny.
You're going to have to deal with, I have a little bit of laryngitis. So unfortunately, this is my voice. What I want to talk to you about today, and I don't believe this has been talked about. There's an organization in California called CALACT. It's the California Association for Coordinated Transportation, and it represents transit agencies throughout California. Well, our stand, RTA, was selected by CALACT this year as the best transit authority in California. They have we as a stand, RTA has only been started since, excuse me, my voice is terrible, July 2019. I think Adam and his staff deserves to be congratulated on what they have done in this time. So I thought it was really important for us to know, because it's not in the paper and nobody seems to have heard about it, I don't think. So anyway, I'm very proud of them. And I know a lot of people didn't think it was going to work, but it's really something that's been accomplished in a very short time. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that to everyone's attention. Next in person, John Arnold.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I am an avid bicycle rider, and I consider the Dry Creek Regional Park Trail to be one of Modesto's crown jewels. I'm on it several times a week. It's used by hundreds, if not thousands, of people a week. It's starting to fall apart. The nature of the damage is such that if it's repaired in the next couple of years, meaning you blow out the cracks and tar them, it will last for many more years. If it's not repaired in the next couple of years, the damage is such that the entire trail will have to be repaved at a considerable more expense. So that's my main concern. There's two other things. The storm in the past month has taken away a probably 30, 40-foot piece of the bank, and it's now only about 6 feet away from the trail. If you look out into Dry Creek, right where the damage occurs, there is an oak tree about 3 feet in diameter. It's actually perfectly upside down in the river, in the creek bed, and that's where everything accumulated and caused. I'm not a hydrologist, so this is probably only part of the cause, but it accumulated behind that tree and forced the water to wash out the bank, which is now only about 6 feet away from the trail. Second concern. The third thing I'd like to address is electric bikes. The sign at the entrance to the park clearly says no motorized vehicles. Electric bikes are very fast, they're very quiet, and typically the person on the bicycle does not have bicycle experience, and I have seen many times out there where people have almost gotten seriously hurt. I don't see how to stop them. You can't have someone standing there all the time, but I wanted to let you know that that was one of my concerns. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Next online, Gail.
Hi, good evening, City Council and Mayor Zwallen. My name is Gail. I'm a retired City of Modesto employee. I've been to a few meetings. At the April 11th meeting, the council voted 6-1 against providing premium pay to the retirees who worked during the pandemic. And at this meeting, the HR director said that she was unsuccessful in getting an answer from the U.S. Treasury and from CalPERS whether it was allowed. She also said she would have to reinstate employees onto the payroll system in order to make that payout. But in the Modesto Bee Sunday edition, April 16th, Bee reporter Kevin Valine contacted the U.S. Treasury and CalPERS and received guidance in writing from both of them. The newspaper actually quoted the Treasury as saying Current employment status is not a factor in eligibility for premium pay for work performed during the public health emergency. And the Treasury encourages recipients to consider providing premium pay retroactively for work performed during the pandemic, recognizing that many essential workers have not yet received this additional compensation. The CalPERS was contacted. Their spokesperson said in an email to the B that Modesto can issue premium pay to retirees who worked as city employees during the pandemic, and they don't have to report the payments to CalPERS. And so in light of this new information, we are respectfully requesting the council to make a motion to reconsider, because this information wasn't available at the last meeting for them to fully have the information they needed to make an informed decision. There's a lot of, there's only 89 of us. It's only 522,000. We feel that it should be brought up again. And if our employees are a valued commodity, then your employees should be valued enough to be paid for the time that we spent working during the pandemic. Even if we had health issues, and my husband himself is diabetic, he went to work every day. There was no, we had to go. It was required of us to go. And so there's no reason to not pay us that money. There's no reason to put us back on the city payroll. All the city has to do is issue the paycheck and a payment, and then issue a 1099 and let the employees take care of the tax on their own. So I'm just respectfully bringing this back up because I've been contacted by so many retirees who are upset about this and would like it to be reconsidered. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next in person, Jerry Thompson.
Mayor, City Council, Attorney, and Manager, City Manager. I want to bring to your attention that AB 436 has passed Assembly without any resistance. Also, National City has lifted their ban week before last unanimously with their City Council in a vote. So I have faith that City of Modesto will do the same thing when that time is right. I think AB 436, the way it's looking, it's moving pretty rapidly. It's going to go before the Senate in the month of June. And so how fast it goes through there, I'm not sure, but it might go through within that month, the way things have been moving. They have a 30-day, I guess, reprieve. So this will be this month, will be that, and then it'll kick in. Then they'll look at it next month in June. So I just want to inform you all and keep you up to what's been currently happening. We're looking forward to hopefully getting this ban lifted because it's a cultural thing, it's a historical thing, but it's also a form of therapy because I have talked to people in the public that have handicaps, that have emotional issues, and they use it as a form of therapy. I met this one gentleman, his son has autism. He will never be able to drive, but he did find out that his son loves cruising around in their 67 Bug. And it's just a form and a way to help his son cope with his struggles. So it was a nice conversation I had with this gentleman, and I met his son, and their car is a work in progress, but they still enjoy it together. So I just want to keep you all informed, and I hope this comes soon in our favor. Thank you.
Thank you. Next online, Ramon Rodriguez.
Good evening, council members and the public. Recently, I went to the AB 41 meeting for Modesto Police Department's military equipment, and I saw everything that's considered military equipment, and that gives me a lot like thinking and reflection of all these weapons used. Well, recently now, May is National Mental Health Awareness Month, and the weapons used, especially the rifle that has a breaching round, used to murder Kim Jackson. And also, let's go back all the way since Francisco Moran and Kim Jackson, as well as Garrett Schmidt and Trevor Seaver and Paul Chavez and others who are suffering mental health crisis, but were shot and killed by Modesto Police Department. And this is a reason why I'm speaking, because again, Modesto Police Department needs to clean up and start realizing that mental health is a huge issue, and the officers should not use excessive force, because we've seen it in Joseph Lamatia, we've seen it in Sam Muncie, we've seen it in certain officers, and this needs to be cleaned up before a family or a person will start suing for millions of dollars. And it does not look good for the city at all. And also the same thing, these same weapons, the so-called non-lethal weapons, they were used during the street pride demonstration last year. But the police did not use it on Proud Boys. They used it on counter-protesters. Counter-protesters that were defending themselves against Proud Boys who were actually committing felonies and violence. And the police, instead of stopping Proud Boys and far-right miscreants, they use force with these beanbag guns and everything on the peaceful protesters. That's a shame. These weapons, they do not look good at all. De-escalation is key to bring calm to any situation, because all weapons, that will cause more problems. That will make the situation worse. But de-escalation works best. And in the spirit of this, the awareness month for mental health awareness, alternatives to policing in mental health crisis situation is key to have better outcomes and provide a person the help they need. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next in person, Trent Jordan.
Hi, Mayor. Hi, City Council. I'm a little nervous, so I'll make this fast.
It's okay. We're here.
3221 Beaver Creek, that's my home. The Dollar Tree is at Dollar General on Yosemite right there. I'm talking about, right? They're selling drugs out of the enclosure. And I have 4 grandkids that don't want to go that way, and other families coming that way. And, my kids are all military. I'm a retired Teamster, 34 years. So I don't say anything to anyone because I'm a nice person, So I just wanted to say if anyone's going to address that, that's all.
All right. Thank
Thanks
you
so
for
much.
letting us know.
Yes, thank you.
Correct. We have our police chief and several officers here tonight, so you might be able to give some information to them.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. You're welcome. Next online, Thomas.
Hello?
Hello?
I find it ironic that this month is declared Mental Health Awareness Month. Paul Chavez was having a mental health crisis. I know this firsthand because I'm a friend of his, and I had been in close communication with him the weeks coming up to that. I find it very, almost sickening that you guys will sit up there and say that Modesto cares, that Modesto wants to help people with mental health issues, and that is so far from the truth. You're and now scary. They bully, they intimidate, and they murder. Your recklessness, the recklessness with you guys and everybody involved in Paul Chavez's situation. I just want you guys to know that you guys are crooked politicians, sick and twisted, and you guys all need to go to hell. Fuck you.
All right, we're going to, thank you. Next in person is Miguel Donoso.
That was heavy, Mayor. Especially in mental health issue. Thank you, Mrs. Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm close to 85 years old, so the senior citizen month is perfect for me. And I know one of the few two guys are close to 60, so congratulations. I have this documentation for us to give it to the members of the council. Mr. Mayor, you were in the meeting of the 4/27/23 in regard to the CEED, Economic Development Committee for Stanislaus County. And we make 4 requests, Mayor, in regard to the economic development. And a few members of that committee even cannot read the report. There was 115 pages. So we're asking to you, because you are representing Modesto, to please have 4 issues for us to help us. One is to the report to be in Spanish for the people of the community can understand and be part of the process. Number 2, to ask for technical assistance to teach us and help us the report, because it's 115 pages and very few people understand that information, because 80% is economics in few items in there. The number 3, Madam Chair, is the inclusion of the housing problem that exists in this city and the county. We have family that pay 50% of his salary every month to pay the rent. That's economic. That's affecting families to become more poor because you're paying 50% of the salary every month for your rent. That's not correct. And number 4, Madam Chair, is we request the extension of 3 weeks for have public comment, because we don't have the opportunity. And that day was the draft, and you guys want to sign and approve that for you, and that was wrong. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Next online is John Williams.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, perfect. Give me 1 second here. All right. First and foremost, I just want to shout out justice for Paul Chavez Jr. and justice for Trevor Sieber. 2 wrongful deaths that the city wants to cover up. I just want to start like I always do with the 3 names. Paul David Chavez III, Abraham, and Josiah. Paul was accompanied by his wife, his 3 beautiful boys, and a whole gang of family. He did nothing wrong. He had no weapon. He was not acting sporadic. He wasn't showing threatening signs. He wanted one thing and one thing only: to be helped, to be held. He wanted someone to understand what he was going through at that very moment. Never found that. He wanted to be told that everything was going to be okay. Never got told that. He was scared of you monsters. Not because what he was doing, he was not doing anything wrong, but because he knew all about how you people work. I myself struggle from mental issues. Once again, we're going to state that a little bit louder than needs to be said. I heard somebody say earlier that this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. Well, guess what? Not only did Paul have mental health awareness, but I did myself. So I struggle from mental issues myself. Severe depression, severe anxiety, bipolar disorder, as well as ADHD. I have had multiple runs with the police myself. Why did you not shoot and kill me when I had a knife in my hand, or better yet, a baseball bat? Why wasn't I shot and killed when I physically threatened a police officer to his face, and all he did was laugh me off like I was a common idiot? I truly want to know the difference, because we both had jobs, we both had wives, we both had our lives the same goddamn way. We had goals, we had dreams. Why not me? What the hell is the difference? Oh, wait a minute. Was it the fact that I didn't have kids? Or was it the fact that the officers that dealt with every single one of my situations were properly trained, unlike yours? But I'll let you decide that anyways, of course. At the end of the day, we lost a father, a husband, a brother, a son, a cousin, an uncle, a nephew, a grandson, a best friend, and lastly, a human being. A human being. Folks, a human being. And to me and my family, that is not okay. Nor will that ever be okay.
John?
We love you, CJ. We'll keep your name alive, and we will get your justice one way or another. Say his name. Paul Chavez Jr. And let's be polite, Modesto. It's very rude to call people stupid. When I make my first million, the first thing I'm going to do is buy an airplane and a helicopter.
John, you've exceeded your time.
One more second, please. God bless Steve Allen, the man that does a lot for my family. And trust me, Steve, it does not go unnoticed, my guy. And man, let Modesto cruise.
All right.
I love you, Paul. Say his name.
You need to conclude.
I'm done, ma'am. You have a good night.
Thank you. Next, Brittany Chavez.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm the wife of Paul David Chavez Jr., also known as CJ. My husband was murdered by police officer Sam Muncie and wrongfully tased by Sergio Valencia July 14th of last year. Till this day, I have not heard of any accountability, any police reform, any new tactics, police training. I get your moving forward crap. To me, that doesn't mean anything, because you still have the criminals, the real true criminals, who are basically in charge of it. Nothing's ever going to change. You have so much money, but you would rather give it to the corrupt murderers, the true gang members of the city of Modesto. It's not the people of Modesto that everybody needs to be afraid of. It's not the homeless. It's not the gangbangers that you want to call. It's not the drug users. It's none of that. It's the officers who have no accountability and never once spoke about taking money to defunding the police. What I had said is that there needs to be more accountability. But nobody on that board, on that seat, including you, Mayor, and all of you members on that council, will stand and say, enough is enough, and we need to do something about it, because none of you have a backbone. If you ain't got a backbone, step down. Let somebody real who's actually knows what they're saying to get up there, speaking from experience, to make sure that something actually gets done. Because the first thing I would do is fire the chief of police because, well, I mean, he don't know how to do his job. Let's be frank. You allow murderers to walk around, chief, for his next kill. I mean, it took you how long to fire Lamtia? And now we got Muncie, what? Oh, is 5 supposed to be the magic number? We gotta wait until 5 for him to be gone? It's not right. It's not okay. You wanna speak about mental health awareness, but you don't treat people when they have mental health awareness. Because Sam Muncie knew my husband had a mental health awareness. He was in the ambulance when he took him to the freaking hospital. You don't know everything because you don't have the proper training, the proper tactics. Instead, you say, here's a gun, and Phil is what is best and needed for you for the time being. And that's not all right, and that's not okay. You want to talk about mental health awareness? You have no freaking idea. Not only for those people who are struggling and going through the things that they are going through, but the family members who have to endure all of this. Myself with my 3 boys that I have to keep talking to on every single day basis. Sometimes I have to go to their school and get out of work early just to make sure that they're okay, to hold them, to love them, because they want me, because they don't have their father in their life anymore.
Okay, Brittany.
The questions that I have to answer every single time.
Brittany.
I want to know what you guys are going to do, because you talk about mental health awareness. So what are you going to do moving forward? Because I hope to goodness it is not moving forward together with the Moving Forward Together committee. I hope to goodness it's not moving forward together
Brittany.
with murderers. And I hope to goodness it's not with the chief of police. You guys have a job. No, I'm sorry.
All right,
I
Brittany,
take that back. You don't have a job.
you've exceeded your
You
time.
guys have a responsibility.
So
use your responsibility.
if you continue to speak, you're disrupting the conduct, and we'll turn the microphone off.
Well, I mean, then why are you even saying that? Then you might as well just turn it off. Duh.
All right, thank you for your comments. All right, next is Alicia Hager.
Stu, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. I'd like to get those 4 seconds back that it took you to hear me, because she was a little interrupted at the end because you couldn't wait 2 more seconds. I just wanted to make sure you can hear. Now that I have 2 minutes and 45 seconds, I'd like to start with happy mental health awareness and make sure that Chief is not on the phone. It's very rude to be on your phone when you're in class, sir. That's rude. Now look up and listen, okay? Because you do shoot people for a living. This is important. I understand that none of you guys listened in training class, obviously. So I want to start off with a situation of my own. God bless my brother, Paul Chavez, who still has not gotten any justice from this corrupt town. And I want to say myself was arrested November 2021 on a false call saying that my husband was dragging me or kidnapping me, when in fact I live in the West Side. That's not what happened, and they were just being nosy. Anyways, the police showed up. I told them I have PTSD. They came in 10 deep, arrested me and told me, bitch, your kids are going to CPS now, because I turned my neck to look at my husband. Now, fast forward to last week. My case was dismissed. Congratulations, Modesto. It took you guys 2.5 years to understand you have no proper training, and I am that proof. It was dismissed after I hit the officer and got it dismissed. You know why? Because he hit me first. He puts his hands on a woman half his size and half his age and tells women like me, bitch, your kids are going to CPS. That is who is representing our town. That is who is getting paid this $1.5 million. That is who is paying that $1.5 million for better lawyers to tell us that our kids are going to CPS because we turned and looked. And then they'll drop it. You know why? Because I said, I'm not dropping this. I'm not dropping it. You know why? Because I want to talk to that guy and I want him in trial now, or I'm going to sue the fuck out of him. And guess what? It was dismissed as soon as I said that. You know why? This was only last week, so you guys can look it up. So very recent. You know why? Because they didn't have proper training. It's a good thing that I live in the ghetto and there's so many people that live outside that see me, so I couldn't have gotten shot. But I did tell them, you need to send me to the ambulance. Instead, they sent me to jail. It's funny, though, because with my brother, they didn't send him to jail. They sent him to the ambulance, took him to the psych ward, released him, arrested him again, knowing he's on psych meds, knowing he's drinking. I don't know. I don't have to really know much about science to know when you mix pills and alcohol, it makes you react oddly and, well, suicidally if you read the Google, you know, or his medicine, because I know they did. Someone had to sign it off. But again, remember, you were there, Sue, when they said that that never happened, remember? That never happened. So, Chief, stop looking at your phone. Look up. I'm talking to you, sir. That all happened. You are poorly trained. You deserve a damn hell because of what you've set your team up for. It's time to resign, sir. Sue, it's time to open up the books. Both of you guys do not deserve to say happy mental health awareness, because guess what? You are not mentally aware. And neither is your staff. And guess what?
Alicia?
After I told, no, Sue.
Yes, you've exceeded your speaking time.
You get 30 minutes.
Please finish your comments.
No, you can be, why don't you mute the mic? Or go get your 10,000 steps in, bitch.
All right. All right. Is there anyone else wishing to come forward to speak under public comment? All right.
Good evening, Mayor.
Hi
My name
there.
is Howard Carmen. Good evening, Council. Thanks for taking your time tonight. I'd just like to say, I've been up here for about 8 years. Yes, there's a lot of problems with the police department. We know this. We were low staffed. We were this. We were that. I've seen an enormous change within the police department themselves. I'm not sticking up for them. I'm not sticking up bad for them or whatever. Response time sometimes are just like a quick that they have to respond to do what they have to do. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. In my opinion is I felt that the force of the City of Modesto for what they had to work with and what the increase in the Modesto, California here of the population is being held pretty well. I see the response times on the street. I see them doing the best effort. And I see people on the side because I walk my dog. I'm with the City of the Modesto Street team and I'm there. I see it all a lot of times. And I just want to give thanks to the City of Modesto, the police officers who actually put their life in threat. I'm sad for the many lives that's been lost or been taken. I'm not either way, but that's what I'd like to say about it. We appreciate their help. We appreciate the council and everything. We've been to other council meetings, Sacramento, all that. We hear the same stories, everything. It's not different. It's just the population. It's how people react to the situation and circumstances. And it's unfortunate, but we appreciate each and every one of you. Fire department, everybody that responds to all the responses and all the hard job that they have to do. Last but least, I have one little glitch. This is to change the story real quick because I only have so much time. On 6th Street, between 5th and 7th, which means coming from 5th Street over that bridge, okay, and then there's a one-way street, which is 6th Street. Then you go down, you'll hit 7th Street. There has been 4 killings within the last month because 4 people has been killed because they run the stop sign. There has been 2 pedestrian. I watch it because I'm on 6th Street. I live on streets. I've had to go help those people out on 6th Street. I'm asking the committee to please take an order. You guys are doing work on the side there, on the Caltrans side. They drilled holes in the ground to say that they got to do this, and then it ended up to be mudslides, all kinds of stuff on the freeway. It caused all kinds of problems. I've asked them even to clean the gutters. The city contacted them and just clean the gutters so we don't have all 3 lanes that are full of water splashing cars and possibly accidents. My point is this. I think that they should put, because that is a common area on K Street, that they could go all the way down from 5th Street and jam all the way down to Scenic Avenue if they wanted to. It's a flood house over there and they go fast. They do 60 and 70 miles an hour at nighttime. They drag race there. Nobody cares. Nobody happens. I understand the police department are tied up and everything. But what I'm recommending is to take and get in one of those cross sidewalks there, especially at nighttime, that are lit up. And I'm asking, it might not be possible, but I think it's going to slow the traffic down. I think it's going to keep it en route. is to take it, put a stoplight there. Because they do, people aren't going to keep using that route
Okay.
as a speed thing.
All right, you've exceeded your
Thank you. Have a
time.
nice evening.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. All right, is there anyone else wishing to come forward under public comment? I do not, oops, are we okay? I do not see anyone in person. Is there anyone online? There's no one online. So we will close public comment period. Next on the agenda is consent items. An item may be removed from consent and discussed at the request of a member of the public or council member. Is there anyone on the council that would like a consent item removed for further discussion? Seeing none, is there anyone in the public that would like an item removed from consent for further discussion or comment? I do not see anyone requesting that in person, and I do not see any hands raised online. All right, will the city clerk please read the consent items?
Item 5, consider approving the minutes from the April 11, 2023 council meeting. Item 6, consider approving the recommended budget adjustments to fiscal year 2022-2023 annual operating and CIP budgets. Item 7, consider approving a design services agreement with AECom out of Sacramento for the Bridgemore Avenue at SR 99 interchange improvement project in the amount of $6,380,010 plus $638,001 for an additional services if needed for a total amount not to exceed $7,018,011. Item 8, consider approving a will serve letter and outside service agreement for water services for the property at 1224 Kiernan Avenue. Item 9, consider accepting an informational report for the March 2023 accounts payable payment register and void report. Item 10, consider accepting the monthly investment report for February 2023. Item 11, consider approving the purchase of a Type 2 dozer with Holt of California, for a total amount not to exceed $307,189. Item 12, consider approving the submission of an application for the fiscal year 2022-2023 CAL FIRE Volunteer Fire Capacity Program Grant in a total amount not to exceed $40,000, which includes a 50% local match for the procurement of wild land firefighting equipment. Item 13, consider approving an agreement with Calendar Associates Landscape Architecture, Inc. to prepare construction documentation for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Park renovation project for amount not to exceed $753,419. Item 14, consider approving the plans and specs for the Carpenter Road Area Soccer Complex Phase 2 project, accepting the bid and approving a construction contract with Machado & Sons Construction, Inc. out of Turlock for a total amount not to exceed $1,453,772. Item 15, consider approving the sale of 3.948 acres of real property at 1500 Robertson Road, jointly owned by the City of Modesto, the City of Ceres, and the County of Stanislaus as part of the Tuolumne River Regional Park for $470,000 to the Stanislaus Regional Housing Authority to be used for construction of Parque Rio, a 92-unit multifamily affordable housing development. Item 16, consider accepting grant funds for a Safe Streets and Roads for All grant to create an action plan to analyze roadway accidents. Item 17, consider accepting the install traffic signal video detection cameras project as complete. Item 18, consider approving a First Amendment to the agreement with Pacific Gas and Electric for smart meter installation. Item 19, consider approving an agreement for analytical laboratory testing services to Alpha Analytical Laboratories out of Livermore for a total amount not to exceed $1,837,587 over 5 years. Item 20, consider approving an agreement with LabWorks LLC out of Lehi, Utah for an annual maintenance and support of LabWorks LIMS software for a total amount not to exceed $96,864 over 5 years. Item 21, consider approving an agreement for analytical laboratory testing services to Alpha Analytical Laboratories out of Livermore for a total amount not to exceed $1,677,304 over 5 years.
All right, may I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Wright. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Ricky. Will the city clerk please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
And Mayor Zawalin.
Aye. Motion carries 6-0 with 1 absent. All right, next on the agenda is council comments and reports. Do any of the council members have any comments and reports? Councilmember Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of things I want to discuss tonight. Housing, rental inspection ordinance, and then upcoming community events. In the vein of housing, and we will talk a little bit more about this. I believe we're having a report later on this evening, but the City of Modesto will add 92 units of affordable housing to District 2 in the Robertson Road area where Valenita Park is. That was recently, that's the real estate consent item that just got approved. The development will be called Parque Rio. It's 92 units of affordable housing in District 2 on the west side. Modesto recently also approved next steps for the City of Modesto, for us, and an affordable housing developer to seek $50 million from the state for an approximately 160,000 square foot, 6-story apartment building in downtown on 7th Street by the Catholic Church here. This development will add an additional 79 units to District 2. If successful, tenants can expect monthly rates between $450 to $1,600. Again, that's an additional 79 units to District 2 of affordable housing. The 54-acre Muni golf course, municipal golf course, is another prospect for housing, which the city is currently discussing as well. Rental inspection ordinance, I'm pleased to announce again that the city's rental inspection ordinance will be activated this year. The program is intended to remove fear of eviction and retaliation for reporting unsafe conditions and protect the city's housing stock by adjusting how the city conducts rental housing inspections. Instead of being entirely complaint-driven, each year the city will inspect up to 10% of the rental housing stock randomly or based on data such as history of complaints at a particular property. These are the types of good government policies that the City of Modesto should continue to implement simply because they literally increase the quality of life for our residents. Community events, May 4th, join us as we celebrate Star Wars in downtown Modesto. This is just a quick social media text I'm going to read off. Since 1977, May the Force be with you has been part of the global lexicon, as we all know. This phrase, created by Modesto native George Lucas, symbolizes the magic and influence of his epic film Star Wars, which is globally recognized, intergalactically recognized, I would venture to say. Again, Thursday, May 4th, 2023, 5 p.m. in downtown Modesto, here in front of City Hall and in front of Brendan. Dress up as your favorite character from Star Wars. I know Scotty will be there. And then on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, the day after, we're going to celebrate, actually on May 6th, the annual Cinco de Mayo parade will be taking place on Crow's Landing Road on the south side of Modesto in District 2 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. This event is sponsored by South Modesto Business United. I, along with some of my council colleagues and the mayor, will be a parade dignitary, so I look forward to seeing the community out there. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Williams.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. Last week we had the opportunity and the privilege to reside and be in the company of the 4 mayors from Ukraine. We learned a lot about their plight and their situation that is going on over there. It was incredible that they would even be here, but even while they were here, they were thinking about all those that were in Ukraine, particularly their family and their cities. Most of them, some of them, 2 of them, their cities were devastated, more than 80%. Some cities were 20,000 at first before the war there in Ukraine, and it dwindled down to 3,000. So you can imagine the devastation, but yet they came to the United States, not so much to gain support, because I believe there is support from and in the United States, but we appreciated them and we sent them off on safe journeys back to their hometown. Please keep Ukraine in your thoughts and prayer. Also last week was Love Modesto, and I had the privilege of overseeing Beautify McHenry We had 141 volunteers that signed up. I believe there were about 120 that showed up. We broke it up into 3 sections, and in the 3 sections from 5 Points to Orangeburg, from Orangeburg to Floyd, from Floyd to Stanford. I was very thankful for all who came and supported Love Modesto concerning Beautify McHenry. Sentinel Church also had about 20 or 30 signed up in their particular area. It was a good day. Prior to that, North Modesto Kiwanis provided pancake breakfast. That was a donation to and to support Love Modesto. There were 379 people that actually bought tickets and participated in that, and the money went directly to Love Modesto. And I want to thank my club, North Modesto Kiwanis, for participating in that, and this being their 2nd year. On Saturday was a very, very busy Saturday. As you already know, that I was doing Beautify McHenry. I was accompanied by our city councilwoman, Rosa Scudia Brayton, for about 2.5 hours. Her and I went to make sure that people had water and snacks. We had another individual who picked up all the trash that was left on the side of the road in bags, but we were able to communicate with all of them and thank them for their service on that particular day. Following that early day from 6:45 at 11:30, I had the opportunity to go and give 13 certificates to the men's group. It's a graduation. These are primarily African American young boys in high school. That the men's group is a mentoring group in Modesto that has done this for the last 10 years. It was a privilege to be there. Congratulations to all of those who received a city certificate on behalf of the mayor and all of the city council. It was a great day for that. I also wanted to make mention, as my colleague said, that you can sign up for the Cinco de Mayo, and if you are in the public or online and you want to notify someone as to doing an entry, I would hope that you would do so. That number is 209-883-8764. That number again, this is the number that I was given, so this is a number that is for the public, and it's 209-883-8764. And so that pretty much concludes everything that we had. Oh, one more thing, and that is 75-year celebration for the Women Leagues of Voter. And we had our illustrious mayor, who was our speaker, who was their speaker, not our speaker, who was their speaker and did a fabulous job. And we want to thank her for doing that. And we will be getting a certificate to them for their 75-year celebration.
Thank you. Next is Vice Mayor Ricky.
Thanks, Mayor. I want to just echo Councilmember Alvarez's comments about May the 4th be with you. As hopefully everyone knows, Star Wars was born here in Modesto, so I have a lot of pride in our community coming out and supporting it. And I know our finance director, Deanna, does a mean Ahsoka, so if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I'm hoping she's going to go out there. What do you think? What are the chances? Pretty good? Pretty high. I love it. So go out there if you can on Thursday. I'm also, on a different subject, I'm excited to hear reports from neighbors in Grisada Park that the city's added some porta potties out there at the park. They're located between the playground and the pickleball courts. They're going to make this park a lot safer and just more accessible to more Modestans. And I'm also looking forward to upcoming maintenance plans for the existing bathrooms. And those plans will include hopefully paint and some upgraded fixtures. Also, Measure H was really a huge step forward in improving our parks. But in addition to that investment, we need to update our strategies also to make better use of our park space. We need programming to make sure that our fields and our courts are used effectively, and we need to provide places for music and art, because our parks they could be a wonderful place to exhibit our community's expression. I also think that parks could be a great place where Modestans could enjoy local food trucks or a tasting from one of our many local breweries. Using our parks doesn't have to cost a lot of money. We just have to have the vision of what we're going to do. And we've got the space. So now we just have to decide, what the purpose of our parks could also be. And they're not giant lawns. They should be places for our community to gather and to celebrate. Thank you for the time.
All right. My only comment, so much was covered tonight, and I really appreciate, I do appreciate our council members' comments about their activities that we've been involved in. But mine tonight is to recognize that this is Scotty Douglas's last city council meeting. And he is our deputy city manager, and he has accepted a position as city manager in Cottonwood, Arizona. He will be greatly missed and completely irreplaceable. Someone will do it their way, but Scotty did it his way. And he brought so much joy and goodwill and community goodness to this community. You will be greatly missed, but we wish you all the best and lots of exciting city council meetings, however that may take shape. And I know you will be the best city manager that you can possibly be, and we wish you well. So thank you so much, Scotty, for your service. All right. All right. Any other council members with comments and reports? I don't see any lights on. So next is our city manager comments and reports.
Thank you, Mayor. I too just wanted to extend my gratitude to Scotty. He's filled this role admirably, and I just appreciate all the assistance that he has brought to our office and to our city and to our community. So thank you. Wish you best of luck in the future, and you know where we are if you need anything. Thank you.
All right. Great. Next on...
And we know where he's at if we need anything.
That's right. David's planning a trip, I think. Next on the agenda is new business, item 22. Consider approving the City of Modesto's Home Key 3 project application for the project located at 710 North 9th Street. Negotiate and execute any related program agreements or documents required for the implementation and acceptance of Home Key 3 program grant. Approving a letter of commitment to loan to RH Community Builders in the amount of $2,274,923 and $200,000 for staff activity delivery costs from Community Development Block Grant funds. Welcome for our staff report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Edgar Garcia here, Housing and Urban Development Supervisor. I'll be taking this presentation on the Travelers Motel and the city's application for state home key funds. By way of background, one of the core initiatives of the city's Community Development Division is to encourage, fund, and support and foster the development of affordable housing within the city of Modesto. The city receives grant funding annually from the state of California and the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for this initiative. And throughout the last year, the city has been engaging affordable housing developers to build in Modesto. And in January, RH Community Builders submitted the Travelers Motel proposal for funding consideration ahead of the state's Home Key announcement. A bit of background on Home Key. The mission of Home Key 3 is to prevent homelessness by rapidly rehousing individuals through the provision of coordinated, compassionate, and high-quality services. Under Home Key, local jurisdictions in partnership with local developers acquire and rehabilitate a variety of housing types to permanent or interim housing for a target population. Just a couple considerations regarding Home Key to keep in mind. The Legislative Analyst's Office, which is the research arm of the state legislature, announced this year that the state is anticipating a budget shortfall, which may result in the elimination of the Home Key program moving forward, which emphasizes the importance of applying for these funds. In addition, one of the other considerations, the state lumped Stanislaus County with the entire San Joaquin Valley, ranging from Bakersfield to Stockton, and only allocated $43 million for this region. So, which means it's going to be hyper-competitive, and applications will be over the counter and on a first-come, first-served basis. And if approved tonight, the city will be looking to apply within the next week. So background on the project, the Travelers Motel is located at 710 North 9th Street, which is anticipated to be a motel conversion of 54 units to permanent supportive housing that will offer the following amenities to clients, including permanent supportive housing to include in-unit kitchen and bathroom for single occupancy, common laundry area, and a community center. The service availability that will be available to clients will include case management, peer support, mental health services, and linkage to medical and dental health care. A bit about the project scope and site details. As mentioned, this project would serve as a housing opportunity for youth experiencing homelessness and our general population experiencing homelessness from our coordinated entry list. The unit mix is on the slide before you. It includes 38 units for youth experiencing homelessness, 15 for traditional homeless, and 1 on-site manager unit making up the 54 for a total project cost of $23.2 million. The project location and details, as mentioned, 710 North 9th Street, zoned currently as M1 Industrial. The site offers sufficient parking for clients. It's near just about a block away from JM Pike Park, just shy of half a mile from MJC, and just shy of 2 miles from the Youth Navigation Center. The Center for Human Services is a key partner on this project and application. Transit availability, there's a bus stop right in front of the property, and in addition includes the future 9th Street improvements that are going to be a part of, that are currently in design, which includes bike lanes. A core element of this project is the relocation requirements associated with it. The Travelers Motel currently has approximately 38 units occupied with long-term arrangements with tenants. RH Developers, who is our core partner on this project, will work with the current tenants to ensure that they are relocated to safe and stable housing prior to the rehabilitation. RH Community Builders is known across the Central Valley for the projects that they've worked on, have been awarded multiple Home Key Awards, and their mission is focused on building a multifaceted approach to ending homelessness in the Central Valley with 4 core areas, including development, programs, property management, and innovation. With us here tonight is Michelle Smith from RH Community Builders, who's a core partner. This is their first project in Modesto, but we hope to continue to keep them for additional projects in the future in Modesto. Additional partners include our service providers, which includes County BHRS, who will provide support services for 29 units, Center for Human Services, who will provide support services for 14 units, and Aspiranet, who will provide support services for 10 units. And with us here tonight, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, I mentioned Michelle Smith with RH Community Builders. We have Tony Vartan, who's our director of BHRS from Stanislaus County here. We also have Pam Esparza, who's the chief for the support services division of BHRS. And we also have Cindy Duenas, executive director of Center for Human Services, who are core partners on this project. A bit about the budget breakdown. I mentioned total project cost being $23.2. This is a breakdown of what that looks like. The land costs amounting to about $6.4 million, planning and pre-development just north of $381,000, rehabilitation about $13.1, total amounting to $23.2. As contemplating the total cost of this project, we initiated conversations with other partners that can contribute potentially to this project. And we were successful in receiving approval from our Stanislaus Community System of Care, which approved a $1.7 million allocation in support of this project. In addition, the CSOC will be providing the city with a letter of conformity and additional data to support our home key application and bolster our application to the state. In addition, the managed care plans, which are locally here, Health Plan of San Joaquin and HealthNet, which are our local health CalAIM providers, approved a $2.15 million allocation in support of this project, formally approved just last week. So ultimately reducing our overall cost of this project with the sources below before you here. The total ask of Home Key will be $17 million. with city's allocation of 2.2 or $2,274,923, the health plan allocation of 2.15 million, and the community system of care allocation of 1.7, just north of 1.7 million, amounting to 23.2. And by way of next steps, if approved tonight, RH Community Builders, in partnership with the City of Modesto, will be submitting the home key application within the next week. And if awarded the home key award, the project would begin in summer 2023 and be completed within 8 months and be occupied within 12. The action before you tonight is to authorize a letter of commitment allocating the $2.2 million contingent on the award of home key, and authorizing the city managers to submit the home key application. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
All right, questions from council members. Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. A great presentation, but I do have some concerns. We have 38 units are occupied right now, and I'm assuming those are low-income families. With the shortage that we have in Modesto of housing, explain to me how we're going to find housing for 38 families.
Thank you, Councilmember Wright. That's an excellent question. This is not a new endeavor. RH Community Builders has gone through this process before. They have extensive experience in securing housing opportunities for clients. And with that, I'd like to invite Michelle Smith to talk more extensively through that process with us here tonight.
Okay.
Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. Appreciate your time. So thank you, Councilman Wright, for that question. We do recognize that there are 38 households residing in the Travelers. Those units are not, they don't meet habitability standards for permanent housing. And so they are currently being used as long-term rentals when by code they should be being treated as transient occupancy for a hotel or motel. We have toured the property. There are some pretty deplorable conditions that need to be improved upon at the project. But what we are focused on doing with any project by law is meeting California relocation laws. Those require that anybody in a situation that's a long-term setting is relocated in accordance with federal law and with an overlay of state law. As such, we bring in a relocation firm. The one we've selected for home key projects is AutoTemp. They engage with all the long-term stayers at a project like this. They triage them for both income, household composition, assets, etc. They develop a housing plan for each and every one of the eligible tenants. They provide notices that get delivered to the tenants to let them know what their eligibility is. We host a community meeting to answer questions. And then each household is delivered with an individualized housing plan that covers up to 4 years, depending on their eligibility, of assistance to get them stabilized into what is a permanent home rather than residing permanently in a motel room.
And do you know what the average rent is on these units right now?
I do. I don't know that I can share that publicly. It's the owner's information at the property, so I'd have to check with our legal counsel. If I'm allowed to, I will certainly share that with you.
And are these 38 units or families, are they working right now? Do they have jobs?
I can't answer that. We haven't triaged them individually yet. We just got the roster of names, and so we'll be delivering what's called a general information notice to each and every family. And at that time, each one gets triaged, and that's when we'll collect that information. So there's a standardized intake form that we go through.
Okay, and then my last question is, will their relocation be in the city of Modesto, or it can be in the county, or is there some parameters on that?
It could be anywhere. And so in one project we had a while back, there were some long-term folks at a project, and one of them opted to reconnect with family in Texas, and so their assistance included assisting them in meeting their end goal, their end housing plan.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Councilmember Williams, questions?
Thank you, Mayor. The question, will it be gated? And that's one question. Second of all, what's the square footage of that entire area? And then third, will there be a like park setting, play area? And then I guess the last one would be where the big building is, where it was a restaurant type bar. What are you going to do with that particular facility?
So excellent questions, Councilmember Williams. I'll take the last one first. The restaurant bar area, formerly known as the Knock and Boots, will be part of a community center of this project to support the clients that are housed here. Before you, it's the building in the center there. The other question regarding whether this property is going to be gated, that is currently something that we're contemplating as part of this project. And regarding your square footage, I don't have that information at my fingertips, but I'm happy to seek your GIS information and circle back with you with that.
And then park settings, play
Parking?
areas. Park.
Oh, excellent,
Play
yeah.
areas.
So there are actually two, the site, as you can see on the outer perimeter on the side, where we toured the area just a few days ago. One of the ideas to convert that areas to green space to offer some additional common areas for the clients. So that is currently contemplated.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember.
All right, any further questions from council members regarding item 22? Vice Mayor Ricky.
Thanks, Mayor. So the Travelers Motel historically has been a real trouble spot in our community. I know that in the past it's been a haven for drug use and violent crime and prostitution and human trafficking. So I'm like, and this is in my district, so I'm really excited that this potential project is on the docket. It's a really good thing for us. So it just really takes a negative off the board and could be a real positive for us. My question is, it's slated for 38 units, but it looks like on the map that there's like a lot of extra real estate there. Is there a possibility in the future, maybe if we get more funding, to expand it further?
So the anticipated projects is to fill the full 54. What was mentioned is 38 are currently occupied.
Oh, got it. Okay.
But we anticipate filling the full 54, and the unit mix is before you on the slide: 38 youth experiencing homelessness, 15 traditional, and 1 on-site manager unit.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions from council members? Seeing none, I will ask the members of public to come forward regarding item 22, if there's any comments. All right, sure, please step forward. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think one of the biggest issue that we facing, of course, is housing. But you cannot build the houses without the approval of the financial committee. So I congratulate the financial committee to be so wise to allocate the money perfectly. The second issue is the problem that we're facing, and already Mr. Chris Rice mentioned it, is the improvement of that area to be more so much modification, but at the same time security. And nobody mentioned it's going to be security there, like a officer, private office security officer, because that way we need to that, because like he mentions, it was a very excellent spot to do anything you want. It looked like in New York, in Chicago, with Al Capone, you can do anything, nobody can touch you. So the issue is who's going to be in charge of the security of that premises. And the last is, I'm going to tell finally the Modesto is moving in the right direction of the housing. Finally, took many years. I remember I come many times here and put pressure to the housing element, because the majority of the city is 3 or 4 years behind the housing element regard to the regional allocation of units. So finally, I think it's very good sign that you guys are moving in the right direction. And I think we need to ask more money, not only from federal, from state, in regard to improve the condition of the housing, especially for the homeless. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, you're welcome. All right.
Just real quickly,
Sure.
I just want to, Cindy Duenas, Center for Human Services, just tell you how excited we are about the momentum that is in place with housing in the city of Modesto. And this builds on the investment you made in the Youth Navigation Center, where we now know we have a system to address youth homelessness. We have currently about 340 names in our database, or the coordinated entry system of young people experiencing homelessness. So these new units will go a long way towards putting a dent in that number. We have a hard time finding affordable housing for young people, and having the partnership with BHRS, Aspiranet, and RH Builders, and having this builder come to our region and in our community is a huge asset. So I just congratulate you on considering this project and hope that you will vote for it. Thanks.
Right, thank you. In between, I'm going to go to one person online. My pattern is to go back and forth to make sure we include everyone. I see Kevin Valine online.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got 3 questions. One, the homeless youth, can you talk a bit more, are these 18 to 25-year-olds who have aged out of foster care?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Second question is, roughly how many people could this provide housing for, the entire project? I'm assuming there might be more than one person per unit, per apartment. And then the third question is on the relocation of the current tenants. The person from RH talked about one person had gone to Texas because that's what they wanted to do. But if somebody who's now at the Travelers and wants to stay in Modesto, is that an option? Or do they have to get relocated someplace else out of the area, even though that's not what they may want?
All right, we will address your questions. Do you have any further questions?
I think that's it, Mayor.
All right. Edgar will step forward to address those concerns or questions.
Thank you, Mayor. So thank you, Kevin, for the questions, and thank you, Mayor, for addressing the first. The number of people housed, the studios can fit up to 2 people, so 54 or the 53 would fit up to 106 individuals, potentially. In terms of relocation, for clients that are currently housed there, that is an option that we can evaluate and explore further.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, in person, we have Tony Bart. Welcome.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council, City Manager Lopez, and Mr. Sanchez. Thank you very much. Just a few moments, wanted to make a couple of comments. One, we are very excited about this project, as Behavioral Health Services will be participating by providing permanent supportive housing, supportive services, and behavioral health services for this project, and usually a commitment of about 20 years, sometimes longer. So we will be submitting some support letters to this project to ensure that that comment has been made. Secondly, wanted to really take the opportunity to thank the city for their continued support and partnership with Behavioral Health Services. We have multiple projects that we're working on together, and hopefully we can continue to do projects like this. And lastly, since I have the podium, wanted to thank the city manager. As we mentioned today, the Mental Health Month, Mental Health Awareness Month, but we also had a bulletin board go up with the partnership with the city manager to show contact information and our resources for the community to be able to access mental health services. So thank you for that, and we appreciate your consideration of this project. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Thank you. Online, I see Ramon Rodriguez.
I have a question in regards to the homeless youth. We all know that the homeless youth are one of the most vulnerable demographics in the homeless population, especially coming from marginalized communities, as well as LGBTQ plus homeless youth, as well as they're most likely to be targeted of human trafficking and sex trafficking and other form of crimes. How are you going to take steps to protect the homeless youth from exploitations as well as of other harms such as drugs, alcohol, substance abuse, and even violence? Because my concern is that they all have different situations, whether they be rejected from families, domestic violence situations, substance abuse, or long life situations. So how are you going to take steps to protect homeless youth from harm?
All right. Thank you for sharing those concerns, and we will address them.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple key elements that are going to be implemented as part of this project to prevent or to protect vulnerable youth. One, the site will include site security. In addition, the clients that would stay at that stay on site will be offered intensive supportive services to include case management services, linkage to medical care, linkage to dental care, linkage to case management services as well. So we intend that full, robust set of services to be made available to these clients.
All right. Thank you very much for that clarification. Are there any other members of the public that would like to come forward regarding item 22 to speak? Okay.
I just want to clarify something. The response to the question about whether there'll be former foster youth, some of them may be former foster youth, but it's not going to be exclusively that population. So it's homeless young people, 18 to 25, who are entered into the coordinated entry system, and then we work through the list. So that doesn't exclude them from housing if they're not former foster youth.
All right. Thank you, Cindy. All right. So I will confirm that there are no additional comments online. So I will close public comments and ask council for further comments. Councilmember Wright?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Edgar, I have one more additional question. So there's going to be some transitioning time from the time that you evict the 38 units that are occupied until they find a place to go. So how are they're going to be housed? Is there going to be hotels available to them until they find something permanent? And how long will that process take?
Thank you, Councilmember Wright. The first step will be that relocate. So we will not start the rehab process until we've relocated all the clients. So that rehab process will follow that relocation process.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Williams.
Yes, you can come on back up, Edgar. Good thing there's no music playing, musical chairs here.
Right.
So you're asking tonight for technically 10% of the project from the city, from the CDBG funds. Correct. So the city side of this is $2.3 million roughly.
Correct.
And the rest is coming from all the other agencies, which I think is outstanding.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right, Councilmember Alvarez.
Yeah, I just have a point. I just want to clarify for the public's understanding, the relocation of these residents is not the responsibility of the City of Modesto, correct?
That is correct. But in partnership with RH Community Builders, we will be supporting the relocation of the clients.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other comments from council members regarding item 22? Seeing none at this time, we have a couple of amendments that may need to be noted, and I will turn the time over to our city attorney, Jose Sanchez.
And Edgar, go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong, but there are two resolutions
that are being amended, and they're before the council, but it's really the first resolution and the third
That is correct.
resolution in the packet. So when, obviously, Mayor, when reading off those resolutions, if we could just add as amended at the end. And really the amendments are, and they're shown in red in front of the packet, they're really to the recitals of the resolutions, clarifying as far as the project itself. And again, in red, simply stating 15 units to the general population experiencing homelessness and includes one on-site manager unit, just for clarity.
And that is in the first bullet point?
They're in both the first resolution and also the third resolution, Mayor.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that clarification. So at this time, we can vote on all four of the bullet points at once, so I will read them. Resolution approving the City of Modesto's Home Key 3 project application for the project located at 710 North 9th Street, authorizing the city manager or his designee to submit the application, applicable documentation with alterations as required by the California Department of Housing and Community Development, and negotiate and execute any related program agreements or documents required for the implementation and acceptance of Home Key 3 program grant as amended.
So moved. Second.
I'm going to read them all together. One vote. Resolution of the governing body of the City of Modesto authorizing joint application to and participation in the Home Key program. Resolution approving a letter of commitment to loan to RH Community Builders in an amount up to $2,274,923 in community development block grant funds to assist with the acquisition and rehabilitation of 710 North 9th Street and $200,000 for staff activity delivery cost, and authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute the agreements as amended. Resolution amending the fiscal year 2022-23 multi-year fund budget in the amount of $19,474,923 to establish a project for the Home Key 3 program to be funded with Home Key 3 and Community Development Block grants, and authorizing the city manager or his designee to take the necessary steps to implement the provisions of this resolution. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All right, I have a motion by Councilmember Bavaro and a second by Councilmember Williams. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
And Mayor Zwellen.
Aye. Carries 6-0 with one absent. Thank you all for being here this evening and for your comments and report. Thank you. At this point, I think we will take a 3-minute break. 3-minute break. right. All right, it is now 7:23 p.m. and we are resuming our city council meeting for item 23. That is consider accepting the Modesto Police Department's annual military equipment report, approving an ordinance reauthorizing the department's military equipment use policy, Policy 710, and authorizing the purchase of additional equipment that qualifies as military equipment in fiscal year 2023-24. And we will have a report. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Lieutenant Joe Bottoms. I'm with the PD, and tonight we'll be going over the 2022 military equipment report. Before we start, I'd like to give a brief history on what Assembly Bill 481 was, or is. Back in September of 21, the governor approved that things that we've been using for several years, going on 20 years now, are now considered military equipment. And so now that it's considered that, a lot of this equipment falls within certain parameters, and that's why we're here tonight, and that's why we'll be here every year. So tonight, I'd like to consider accepting the Modesto Police Department's annual military equipment report, approving the ordinance reauthorizing the military equipment use policy 710, and authorizing the purchase of additional equipment that qualifies as military equipment in fiscal year 23-24. Ordinance 3745 was adopted on May 3rd of 22. The governing body, which is you, the City Council, is required to annually renew and review ordinance per Assembly Bill 481. Ordinance accepts Modesto Police Department Policy 710, which is our military equipment use policy. Some of the requirements from 481. The annual report must be submitted to the City Council to determine compliance with 710. City Council may renew the ordinance, disapprove authorization for equipment where the standards have not been met, or require modifications to the military equipment use policy, which is Policy 710. Publication of the policy and annual report are on the Modesto Police Department website and the City of Modesto website. Another requirement is to hold a community engagement meeting on an annual basis, and that was held on April 22nd, 23, at the Modesto Police Department. In the annual report, which has been posted on the internet, it details usage and deployment of the listed equipment, gives summary of the equipment.
Just a minute, sorry, Joe.
That's all right.
There you go.
Thanks. List purchase of consumable items per Policy 710, and list complaints regarding equipment usage, which there are no complaints in 2022, and list policy violations, which there are no policy violations in 2022. The annual report highlights. It should be noted, it's important, that the Modesto Police Department possesses only 6 of the 15 categories listed in Assembly Bill 481. Those categories are Category 1, unmanned aerial vehicles, commonly referred to as drones. Many of these drones can be purchased right off the shelf at Best Buy or Radio Shack. We were one of the first agencies in the state of California to take advantage of this technology, and it's now listed as military equipment. Category 2, armored personnel carriers. You've probably seen it driving around town. It's our SWAT Lenco. It's going on 20 years now. Category 5, mobile incident command post vehicles, which is, we have a very large fifth wheel, which is used for off-site investigations to get employees out of the weather, out of the sun, and it's now listed as military equipment. Category 10, specialized firearms and ammunition of less than 50 caliber, with the exception of standard issue service weapons and ammunition. Over 20 years ago, we took advantage of a government program that allowed us to acquire M16 Vietnam-era rifles. Those rifles haven't been used in more than 20 years. They are, except for training purposes, about half of those are used for training purposes when teaching new officers how to operate them. The other ones are, we're currently investigating on how we can either destroy those or return those back to the government. Category 12, flashbangs, tear gas, and pepper balls. We do have those. And category 14, projectile launch munitions and platforms, which are the weapons that will launch those projectile munitions. Okay, we're good. Some of the more annual report highlights. Some of the unmanned aerial vehicles, commonly referred to as drones or robots. We have 12 UAVs. Most, if not all, can be purchased off the shelf at Radio Shack or Best Buy. And we have 2 robots, one of which we purchased approximately 10 years ago, and the other one was acquired through the federal program, and oftentimes it doesn't work that well. Category 2, like I referred to before, is our 2004 Lenco Bear. It's our SWAT truck. Obviously, it's armored. It can carry people inside of it, rescue downed officers or downed citizens. Has ballistic capabilities, and then also in that are 2 peacekeeper vehicles acquired free through the federal government. Most of those, the biggest purpose for those 2 vehicles is our Armadillo program, and I'm sure everyone is familiar with that, is where we park those in high crime areas, experiencing vandalism and such things. It has the words "Smile, you're on camera" on the side, and it seems to be a rather effective deterrent. In category 5, like I said before, is our mobile command post, which is a 2000 model Eagle 5th wheel. Nothing really needs to be said more than that. It's just a big office space. And the 2001 Ford pickup truck that pulls the 5th wheel. These are the category 10, I'm sorry, these are the M16A1 rifles I spoke about, obtained more than 20 years ago through a military surplus program, and these are used strictly for training. Category 12, flashbangs, tear gas, and pepper balls, various types with different purposes, platforms used to launch the flashbangs, tear gas, and pepper balls. There are, you can see there are different quantities of each listed there. Category 14, projectile launch munitions and platforms. These are the actual, these are less lethal items used to de-escalate situations prior to officers entering a building or prior to using lethal force. Something I would like to go over, it's not listed in the PowerPoint, or what we actually used over the last year. 2022, there were 45 operational UAV deployments or drone deployments, 24 deployments of the Lenco armored vehicle, 14 deployments of the Peacekeeper or Peacekeepers, 2 deployments of the command post, which is the fifth wheel trailer, 3 deployments of chemical agents used by the SWAT team, 4 deployments of flashbang devices used by the SWAT team, 7 deployments of SWAT robots. Oftentimes we'll send those into houses prior to sending officers in so we can see who's in there or what's in there. 4 deployments of less lethal beanbag munitions, 9 deployments of pepper ball munitions, and that is it for our deployments. Part of the reason I'm here tonight also is to request authorization to purchase equipment listed or deemed military equipment by the state of California. In category 1, we would like to purchase a total of up to 10 UAVs or drones at a cost of $70,000. In category 5, we'd like to purchase a UAV command post vehicle, which essentially would be a very large van with TV screens used to view what the UAVs can see from the air at a cost of $90,000. We also would like to authorization to purchase in category 12, 24 mini flashbangs at a cost of $1,400. Category 12 also 40 canisters of tear gas at a cost of $2,000. Also in 12 is 50 40 millimeter foam batons at a cost of $1,250, and 12 CTS smoke canisters at a cost of a little over $400. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
All right, thank you for your presentation. Does council have any questions of staff? Seeing none, at this time, I'll open it up to the public. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak regarding item 23? All right.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening again, once again. My name's Howard Carmen. I'd just like to say that, the police department really don't, we run figures all the time of what they want and what they don't want. And I'd say for the most part, they don't get a lot of it. So I don't think they're asking for too much for what they have to deal with. We're in a new generation. We do have crime happening, and we need to protect the city of Modesto. I appreciate everybody's time.
Thank you. And online, we have Ramon Rodriguez.
I have a question again in regards to the munition part. I have a bit concerned again because from last time the military toys that are being used, they were used against peaceful protesters during the straight pride thing last year. And also, there are concerns that some of these weapons, they could be used in the wrongful situations, such as a person having a mental meltdown or something, because we have seen it in Kim Jackson's case using one of these weapons used. So how are these weapons going to be used, and how are you going to prevent using these while there are other alternatives such as de-escalation without harm or violence?
Are those your questions?
Yes.
All right. Is that the final questions?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your questions. We'll have a response.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez, for your questions. I understand your concern. Part of the Assembly Bill 481 also regulates and keeps track of the training that officers receive in the use of these less lethal platforms, and the I think I missed the last part of that question.
Yeah, I think that was the question, is
okay,
what they'll be used for. They're less lethal.
Correct. And as far as de-escalation goes,
yes,
the last thing that we want to...
yes, that's what it was, de-escalation.
The last thing that any officer wants to do is go into a situation where we are faced with a potential lethal situation. We always would like to use less lethal situations or less lethal tools prior to prior to having to use lethal force. And these tools are often, or their primary use is to de-escalate tense situations.
All right, thank you. Yes, I do believe he, and maybe I can address that mental health situations are mentioned tonight quite often. And we are certainly doing everything within our power to address those situations as sensitively as we can. All right, next online is Darlene Ruiz.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good evening, City Council and Mayor. Obviously, I'm concerned about buying more military weapons for our police department. I don't know if the public is aware that Joseph Lamatia used his own private gun when he killed my son. So officers are allowed to also carry their own guns. I'd rather see money go for more de-escalation. I don't believe that all officers want to do less than lethal means. Joseph Lamatia was carrying no de-escalation equipment with him when he killed Trevor. So I think there needs to be a more emphasis on training and de-escalation than buying more weapons. I also had a question on the drones. Will the drones be used if there's a mental call and maybe Chad is called out for mental health? Will they be able to use the drones to check on the person, or exactly what will the drones be used for?
All right, thank you. Do you have any other questions at this time?
I don't.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you for your question. You'll notice that during the request to purchase, the only things we requested to purchase were less lethal munitions and platforms and used to de-escalate. As far as the drone usage, they're used for a variety of calls. There's too many variables to say if it would be used or wouldn't be used. We love using them. It's an excellent tool to get eyes on, and I think we can also bring up the airplane that will immediately be able to get eyes on a tense situation a lot quicker than a drone can, as long as it's up in the air.
All right, thank you for your response. Are there any other members of the public that would like to come forward regarding item 23? All right.
Council, Mayor, I think this is a good investment. Less than lethal technology is much more superior than what people realize. The ammunition that they're discussing are not bullets made out of lead or copper. These are technology that will help control and also, let's put it this way, this is stuff that has been used for decades, but not on the public street, but in other settings, and it's been very effective. And I think the police department, with their training and their understanding of it, is going to be very beneficial for the whole community. Because less than lethal munitions saves lives and doesn't take lives. And the drones, I think, is a great idea because it helps look out for the officer or the community, because they can see from the sky a lot better and assess the situation to their advantage and also for the community's advantage by doing this. So I think it's I call it an investment. I wouldn't call it just as military equipment, because technically I would never categorize as real military equipment, because this is technology that's been used not so much by the military, but other types of agencies that have used it in the past. So I just want to make a comment. I think it'd be wise to allow this budget to happen.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak on item 23? I do not see anyone in person, and there is no one online, so I will close public comments at this time. Are there any council members that would like to comment? All right, seeing none, this will be two separate motions. Oh, excuse me, Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. I remember in a briefing not too long ago, in speaking about the drones, it was said that it is best used when on the ground, going into houses and around houses where the plane camera wouldn't be able to get eyes on. So that's what I remember.
All right, thank you. Any other council members have comments? All right, at this time, I have a motion introducing and waiving the first reading of an ordinance approving the Modesto Police Department's military equipment use policy, Policy 710, in accordance with AB 481, approving the purchase of additional equipment that qualifies as military equipment in fiscal year 2023-24 and rescinding ordinance number 3745-CS. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Vice Mayor Ricky.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bavaro. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Ricky,
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro,
Aye.
Councilmember Williams,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez,
Aye.
and Mayor Zwellen.
Aye, so it carries 6-0, one absent. Next is a motion accepting the Modesto Police Department's annual military equipment report. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Alvarez, second by Councilmember Wright. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Ricky,
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro,
Aye.
Councilmember Williams,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez,
Aye.
and Mayor Zwellen.
Aye, so it carries 6-0, one absent. I just have one other announcement to make, that there's a National Day of Prayer this Thursday, 12 noon to 1 p.m. in the plaza on 10th Street, right outside this building. Are there any matters too late for the agenda? All right, seeing none, I am calling the meeting of the City Council to be adjourned.